What's up, everybody? I have been kind of busy these last couple days, so I haven't gotten a chance to talk to y'all about the preseason game. There was another joint practice today with the Rams. I'm pretty sure they're about to start getting sick of each other. And also, too, the Cowboys signed a DT tonight in a trade from the Giants, surprisingly. So, got a lot to get into. First, let me start by saying that if you are new here, I am Iisha with 2 eyes, and I'm so happy that you came in to see me. If you're not new here, what's up? What's up? I know it's been a couple days. Don't be mad at me. But I wanted to just hop on here and talk ball with y'all just a little bit before I got in the bed. So first, let's touch on the preseason game. So I have a lot of notes from the preseason game. I'm not trying to hold y'all hostage a long time. Y'all know I'm very, very, very detailed. But I wanted to just talk about a few of the things that I liked from the preseason game. I thought that the player of the game was Marquise Bell, hands down. And I had mentioned on the channel before that I wasn't sure where Marquise Bell fit. I had actually said in my preview game that I'm looking for him, that I'm looking to see him splash. And he showed me real quick, so active in the passing game, the way he can come from depth and come tackle. That time at linebacker seems like it really helped him, especially when he's sifting through trash in the run game and playing close to the line of scrimmage. The amount of range that he showed, being able to cover a lot of grass quickly. I think Zimmer is going to have a lot of fun with the options that he has in the safety room. So Marquise Bell, definitely a pivotal point of the defense getting those 4 turnovers last Sunday. Was it Sunday? Dang, what day is it? Is it Wednesday? I'm sorry, y'all. Another player that stood out to me, Marshawn Nealon, the rookie D-end. Listen, very quickly you noticed him, and you noticed the ability to stop the run. The natural feel for the run game. Everybody can't play D-end and stop the run. A lot of guys are just in it because they get to rush the passer. And with Marshawn Nealon, just the amount of power he plays with to be fresh in the league like he is, you can't speak to it enough. I think he's going to be so pivotal in this defense's success moving forward. We heard Micah Parsons compare him to Cam Jordan this week, and honestly, I hadn't heard that comp. Everyone comps him to Tank, really, but when you look at how he plays in the upside with the pass rush ability, it really does put in perspective, like, he's going to look different than a Tank just because of some of his usage and some of the things he can do. But similarities in both of the players when you talk about the comparison. DeMarvion Overshown, saw him on a couple of blitzes. The way that he still has that explosiveness, and he's not just being explosive and just coming downhill and making tackles. He's reading. You see him processing these plays and some of the things he did out on the edge and some of the things he did coming from the linebacker position to blitz and stuff. Again, he wasn't in there long. I'm sure they have him on a snap count. Sounds like today at practice he had a knee bruise that he got from the game, because y'all know he just going a million miles an hour. So doesn't sound like anything to be worried about. I know everyone was kind of panicking, including me, when I heard that he was injured. So yeah, so that's something. And he just displayed so much patience in the run game. And for a young linebacker that's coming back from an ACL, it was very promising to see. So I'm just going to continue to look for him. Like I said, didn't practice today. Who cares? We'll get to practice and what I thought about that place today. Let's see, who else? Offensively, I can talk about the offense a little bit. Offensively, I thought the starting offensive line that they ran out there with, it was Edoga at tackle, Awesome at left guard, Brock Hoffman at center, TJ Bass at the right guard, and then Matt Waletzko at right tackle. Now, I'm going to be very frank with y'all. I don't know what happened to Matt Waletzko, but I will say the surgeries on his shoulders, the issues he's had, this doesn't look like an NFL-ready player. And I've seen it at practice today and saw it again in the game on Sunday. Just a lot of reaching, a lot of lunging, a lot of playing as an upper body player, and you can't do that as an offensive lineman. I mean, the feet aren't quick enough. It was a tough night for him. TJ Bass, he did some good things. I think this offensive line early in that game, we saw Rico have a couple of runs to the right side. You saw them have some success in the run game with that unit. I think that TJ Bass did some good things on the combo blocks and getting to the second level. I still feel like, and a lot of these young guys struggled with this in this game, is when you get to the second level, finding a body and latching and taking better angles, which is not easy for some of these big guys in space when they're trying to get their hands on a linebacker, when they're trying to get their hands on a safety. And I get that. But that's something that this run game needs to move forward. So with Brock Hoffman, we see that Cooper Beebe came in later in that game and was able to establish some good tape to build upon from the center position. The snaps, again, he has some that are really great, and then he has some that are really good. And that's just some of the growing pains you're going to have to go through with him. But once he gets out of that stance, the dude, his base is so strong, y'all. It is so strong, and I can't imagine what his core strength is, but just the way that he's able to mirror and be comfortable and really sit into his hips and let his weight hit his feet when he's anchoring, it's something to see. And I'm excited about what he can bring to this offense, this run game, with all of the power that he has. That's the difference between he and Hoffman to me. I actually wrote down with Brock Hoffman is that at times he just can't anchor. He cannot find his weight in his feet and sit down into his hips and stop defenders. So that was something that I noticed with him. He gets driven back off the ball sometimes. And here's the thing about Dak Prescott. He can evade, the left side, right side pressure. But when there are guys rushing up the middle, and we've seen an influx of that in the NFL period. And that's why people are investing in their interiors, because they understand that that's how you affect the quarterback. So I'm really looking for this offensive line to have more stability on the interior. And it looks like with Cooper Beebe getting first team reps, Mike McCarthy said he earned it. He did. And if he's the better man for the job, he's the better man for the job. I ain't trying to do no tussling. And so, yeah. And again, also too with Brock Hoffman, just like I said, a lot of these guys just struggled with getting to the second level and finding the defender, latching, driving them out to play, making room for whoever's running the ball at that time. These guys overall need to improve on that. Let's see who else. Awesome Richards, pleasant surprise. Now we'll say, especially given what happened to Earl Bostic, the tackle today, and what happened to Edoga in the game. I don't know what the Cowboys' infatuation right now is with turning tackles into guards, but they need to stop, because now you're in a situation where you have all this interior line depth and you're down to maybe like your fourth, fifth tackle right now with the injuries that they've dealt with. And so for me, it's like I love seeing Awesome finding a home at left guard. I really do. I think that it really simplifies the game for him, not being on that island at end by himself, on the end by himself, at tackle, at left tackle. And one thing with Awesome, he's always struggled with the striking, just being powerful with his punches, right? But I think with him being a left guard, it allows him to not have to think so much and just react. And we've seen his hands be so much better, the hand placement be better. He's always had pretty good feet and an ability to just kind of stay with the defender. But I see more power from him at the left guard spot. So it's bittersweet to me. But baby, you might have to move back because Nathan Thomas as well, sounds like he's dealing with an injury that's undisclosed, but it sounds like it's something like in the tinnitus type range. So in his foot. So we don't know when we're going to see him. And I was really looking forward to seeing him because I thought that a lot of his college tape was impressive. I thought that some of the things he can do in the run game, he has the temperament to be a get downhill, get out in space, run guy. But sometimes the feet can be a little sloppy, and technique-wise, he can sometimes just be overly aggressive. And I know some people don't think that's possible with offensive linemen, but yeah, like sometimes you just like, my guy, I know you want to displace the defender, but you ain't got to put all your weight into it, and you almost knocking yourself on your ass. So looking for him to just play a little bit more under control. Hopefully he can get into some of these preseason games and he can get back on the field, because we haven't seen him really since like the first week. And you need tackle depth. They also brought in a couple of other tackles. Jesus muffins. My phone is right here. Let me see. Actually, I have my laptop in front of me, so give me 1 second. Let me see. I looked him up earlier. 1 second, guys. Acquire tackle. Not Jordan Phillips. I know that man. Let me see. I should have my Twitter pulled up in front of me. I'm sorry. Offensive tackle. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna let it go. They picked up another tackle. I saw some people familiar with some of his work, being at the Sun Belt in college and stuff like that. I'll do a little bit more research about him and have some level of a scouting report on him. But I think that they're just trying to get some bodies in there to be able to finish out these preseason games and then figure out what they're going to do moving forward. I'm sorry. I feel like that took forever. My bad. Anyway, so the tight ends. I was looking for the tight ends this game. I told you guys, I was like, listen, I've been incredibly underwhelmed. I don't know about you, but still didn't see much from them. I think at the beginning of the game, you saw them offensively trying to get the ball into Schoonmaker. Wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. There was nothing productive going on from the running back position. Malik Davis got a crap ton of burn. I'm not a huge fan of his vision. I do think he can do some things bouncing to the outside, but not particularly powerful, not particularly good when it comes to his vision and his escapability and being able to get to the second level. I don't know what was going on there, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. And Snoop Connor got maybe a play or two, showed a little bit of burst, and it was like, we're out of here, homie. Rico Dowdle, I believe he averaged like 4.3 yards a carry when he first started off on that drive. And you were just like, why is he out there? Sit his ass down somewhere. Now, Hunter Leapke did do some things. He wasn't out there that long. I will say, given what's going on with the tight ends, I think I saw Brevin Spanford have a couple catches. John Stevens had a couple catches. Relatively quiet day from the tight ends. I wonder if Mike McCarthy mentioning the fact that Hunter Leapke is getting work at tight end is because they haven't seen much from the tight ends outside of Jake Ferguson right now. I mean, I think that John Stevens still has the potential to be a good piece in the receiving game, but I just haven't seen enough. Like, none of them have stood out to me really in practices or even in the preseason game. And even Princeton Fant, who I think has the ability to do some things in a blocking game. There's times you see him blocking and he just lets go, and it's just like, what's happening right now? Like, what are we doing here? So they're scaring me. So I'm looking for the tight ends to kind of I'm looking for at least one more guy to come along for the party. And if he's not gonna come, then Hunter Leapke, let's have you do some tight end things amongst doing some running back things, because I don't know what's going on with the running back room right now. It's Royce Freeman is still dealing with the injury. He was in the rehab group today. Ezekiel Elliott didn't even play. Please just trade for a running back. I mean, we can't take it. Let's see. Oh, yes. I want everyone to still be mindful of the fact that preseason is preseason. And guys are just now trying to get into football shape. So these preseason games, you're going to see a lot of huffing, a lot of puffing, a lot of hands on knees. You're going to see, well, on waist. I hope they ain't got their hands on their knees. You're gonna see a lot of hands on waist. Like, this is the time that guys are getting accustomed to being in the league again. And even with some of these second, third string guys, because of depth, they're playing a lot of football. They're on the field almost the whole game. So I know a lot of people were just like, what the hell is this? Like, this is terrible. I mean, that game was hard to watch. I mean, your defense gets you 4 turnovers, then you expect to have some type of, reward from that from your offense. But Trey Lance had his fair share of troubles. One being, there were instances where no one was open. The offensive line wasn't that great. But there were times where Trey Lance was just missing things. I think everything is inside the numbers. He's not really confident with throwing outside the numbers right now, not really going through his reads and being comfortable. Now, he did progressively start seeming more comfortable as the game went on, but it was difficult. And when people talk about not throwing with anticipation, it's like waiting for the guy to get open. And not only that, you're staring him down. Now, we did get to see some of the athleticism and some of the stuff he's able to do, but I think with Trey Lance, it's a tough situation to be in, because I think he's aware of where he is in his career. This is his 4th year and he's barely played any football. It's kind of do or die time for him. And maybe we saw some of those nerves on Sunday, but I also think that we saw a guy that just hasn't played a lot of football. You can tell by his mechanics, you can tell by his footwork, all those things, is that the lack of football he's played has really affected his development. And it sucks, because after this game, after these next 2 games, you don't have any other opportunities to get practice or whatever the case may be, because 4 is going to put on their jersey and that's the end of it. So, and Mike McCarthy has been saying, you guys are going to get a heavy dose of Trey Lance. And I'm like, yeah, we know what Cooper Rush is, baby. Cooper Rush came out there, threw that deep ball, threw a couple passes, and he was like, I'm out. That's all I got. He wasn't even trying to. They pulled him so quick. We know what Cooper Rush is. We know how he's going to operate. He's going to run the offense as it's supposed to be. He may take a couple deep shots every now and then, but everything is on schedule, on time. He's not improvising. It's just how he plays the game. So, I also noticed, like, you see the arm, right? You see the strength in the arm, but one thing that he really struggled with, and I think you saw it in that fade to Jalen Moreno-Cropper in the end zone, was he hasn't mastered touch. And touch takes quite a bit of time for some quarterbacks to master. It is how to place the ball, how much spin you need to put on a slant, how much spin you need to put on a corner post, how much you need to put on a deep 9. Like, you understand how to float the ball, how to place it as time goes on. Some guys have it, some guys don't, and he is just throwing that thing like a rocket every time. So, again, just take it for what it is. I mean, with Trey Lance, I don't plan on overthinking anything. I'm going to take what I see as what it is, understand it, and still continue to walk in empathy the way that I analyze him. But I'm not going to lie to you all about what I see from him. So that's the end of that. Kalen Carson. So I felt like Kalen Carson at the beginning of this game was just a little late in his rotations. Kalen Carson is a hip pocket, in your face all day player. But there were just a couple times where he was just a tick late. And I think once he started to make some tackles, feel the game, settle in a little bit more, we started seeing that guy come out. And again, he had, 5 passes caught on him, but they're sure tackled. These guys are down at exactly where they got the ball. You see the coverage ability from him, and obviously the willingness to tackle. So I thought it was a good outing for, a rookie who was going up against a Jordan Whittington, who I thought was a 4th round pick. Like, this guy is trying to make the team. He looked across at Kalen Carson and was like, hey, bro, I didn't go in a high round like you. I mean, even though Carson was only a round higher, but still, he was like, hey, man, we're battling. And I think it was a good wake-up call for him to be under the lights and then to be tested in that way. So, fine with the rookie. I know everyone wants to talk about Mozzie. I don't have a whole bunch to say. I'm going to say he has some good drives. He has some good plays. He has some plays where he doesn't look as good or as engaged, I'll say. So, that's the end of it. I did think that Junior Fehoko and Chauncey Golston showed us some good things, playing the edge, playing the run on the edge. And even with Junior Fehoko, I just think there are times where he shows some of that explosiveness, and then you see him get out in space or they isolate him and it's just not there. And with Junior, I'm trying to keep in mind also that this is a gentleman that hasn't played a football game since this time last year. Hasn't suited up, hasn't done none of that. He played one preseason game last year, and we didn't see him for the rest of the season. And I understand that, like, that's no excuse, but that's the type of player you see. You see a guy trying to get his legs under him. I think the motor is still there, but you see a guy still trying to get his legs under him. And it just is what it is. And as far as the edge position goes, I did think that Muhammad, the new edge that they just got from the Colts, I believe, loved how he played the run. You can see that he has a little bit of twitch to him. I think he's going to make this team. And I do think he's going to help you in the run, but also to rushing the passer. He's not super bendy, but he does have some twitch to him, and he plays with some power in those wrists. They did some play action things with Trey Lance, trying to get him involved. Flournoy had 2 big drops. Listen, dude, I was sad because, dude, like, you had such a good practice, and then he comes out there at practice today, catches. You can't have drops like that in preseason. They're making note of all this stuff, especially when Jalen Marino Cropper, a few bobbles he may have had, is out here cooking. Like, it's just not the time for that for a guy like Ryan Flournoy who's trying to make the team. So, Racy McMath, same thing. The drops hurt. Some of these drops, like, you know, we can talk about Trey Lance all we want to, but some of these drops ended drives. Some of these drops were very detrimental to what some of the offense was trying to do and put together. So can't have that. And yeah, I really don't have a whole bunch more to say besides Carl Davis, Justin Rogers. Saw a couple good plays from them, and Justin Rogers surprised me because I caught myself seeing him be kind of twitchy, and I was like, am I seeing things? Because Justin Rogers isn't a guy that's just gonna get upfield and do a whole bunch. His college tape, I didn't see a whole bunch of pass rush ability from him, but he is showing a little bit of burst off the line, a little bit of pop off the line of scrimmage. So that's something to keep an eye on, especially with the addition of Phillips, who we're going to talk about here shortly. Cooper Beebe, one of my favorite things about him is just the awareness that he plays with. It's very veteran-esque, just the way you see him diagnosing and the way that he understands leverage very well to be a young guy. And I just, as the snaps get cleaner, this guy is going to become a big piece of what you do as an offense. So I'm really just going to keep an eye on him. And we got to see him today in first team reps. He has some good plays. His base is so strong, dog. Like, it is so crazy how heavy and strong his lower body is. Tyler Guyton came out there and broke the internet low-key because everyone wants to hear about the rookie. You've seen so many different people tweeting about him. His length allows him to cheat a little bit. It allows him to get away with things that a lot of other players wouldn't be able to get away with because he can recover. And he also causes issues for these bendy edges because they have to figure out how to get around him. And what he typically does and what he did in the game is that he forces them back outside. So they just find themselves running the hoop. And a good quarterback is just going to step up and do what he needs to do. So I do think that he's starting to show some tenacity in the run game that I wasn't sure I saw from him in college. I mean, we knew the pass protection was something he could do, but the run blocking, I didn't see a guy that had like aggressive temperament in the run game. So getting to see him get going in the run game, pinning, pulling, and again, it wasn't always pretty. It's not always going to be pretty with him because the technique thing is something that he's still trying to clean up, especially the hands. We saw that some in practice today when he was going against Jared Verse, is that sometimes when he's striking, he's too low or he's too high or he's showing his hands, but then he's not being aggressive as he's trying to, clinch as he's trying to grab the defender and control the block. So, just again, some things he needs to work on, but I still like how active he was and just how much you can see that he's worked to make improvements. Again, so we saw him again today in practice. And let me say about practice as I transition to practice, because I really don't think I have anything else to say about the preseason game except for Julius Wood. I don't know if you guys know who Julius Wood is, but he was one of my favorite players, one of our favorite undrafted free agents that the Cowboys brought in. Fiery, tone setter, run stopping safety, hard hitter, takes the ball away. To see him do some of the things he did in the run versus the run, but also to come from hash to hash, to come from depth, and to come make tackles, and he's reading the quarterback. He got an interception, which is what he does. Keep an eye out on Julius Wood. I do think that he's going to be our third strong safety if they do keep another strong safety. I think Marquise Bell is definitely making a case for himself to stay on this team, but I think Marquise Bell, despite the fact he's such an in-between because he can do things in coverage, but he can also stop the run. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say about the preseason game, unless I missed something. No. I wanted to talk about the practice today. So number one, practice looked boring today. Like, from the clips I saw, from a lot of the stuff I saw, the defenses were really flying around, and the offenses were really, really, really up and down today. I think today was a defensive day, and both of these O-lines had trouble blocking these guys. I mean, from what I was told, even in the red zone period, the Rams weren't able to do nothing down there with Micah. The defensive tackles had some really good run stops as well. It just was a defensive day. And I do think that because they're kind of rotating ones, twos, and threes, these guys, these twos and threes that are playing in these preseason games, I expect to see some fatigue from them after their first preseason game and taking on contact and things like that. And so there was a lot of it just was underwhelming, to be honest. Now, Brandon Cooks had a good day out there. He definitely looked like the best receiver that was out there today. And yeah, I mean, as far as running the ball, they did some good things. They did some decent things running the ball today. There really wasn't nothing interesting to talk about from practice today. I know that everyone wants to talk about Tyler Guyton and his battle with Jared Verse. They did go back and forth. And, Cooper Beebe did some things. But if I'm being completely honest with you, Deuce Vaughn being back was nice to see. His little chip. Been waiting to see him back on the field. He's been dealing with a hamstring that's kept him out of camp pretty much the whole camp. So him getting going, and hopefully this is a good sign that he's going to be available for the preseason game on Saturday. We'll get to see more of him, and he's battling to make this team at this point. So, I'm not saying that I'm, someone that really likes Deuce Vaughn. I'm just saying I'm somebody that really likes Deuce Vaughn. And I think he could be a good depth piece and a change of pace and stuff for this team. And he also can do some things in the receiving game. Again, he has some catching up to do, because Mike McCarthy had even mentioned that they were kind of cross-training him and doing some things with him in the slot. Again, these are things that Deuce Vaughn can do. Deuce Vaun did these things in college. I think he needs a show of confidence from the coaching staff, which you might see with where the state of this running back room is. They might, he ran with the ones today. That might be a sign that they're trying to see if he can carry the load of being with the ones. And we saw him doing some chipping today, and he was effective. I mean, this is not a big guy, but he does have strength. And he did this in college, y'all. I understand that college and NFL are two totally different things, but all the people that think that he can't pass protect, to me, it's crazy. I know it's not going to look the same as a bigger running back doing it, but he's willing to sacrifice his body to protect his quarterback. So just give him a chance. And if not, put a tight end out there and figure it out. I mean, come on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse, but come on. Anyway, gonna be looking for him tomorrow even so. So I wanted to talk about, lastly, the addition of Jordan Phillips, the DT from the Giants. He has been in the league for 10 years. He spent 4 years with the Dolphins, 2 years with the Bills, 2 years with the Cardinals, back with the Bills for another 2 years, and then he just was with the Giants. He had a wrist injury and wrist surgery last year towards the end of the year. The Bills put him on IR, and he hit free agency and went to the Giants. When I was doing some digging about, no, first of all, he's 6'6", 241, 341, 342, about, I just say about because they be lying. Yeah, so from what I gathered, the Giants' defensive tackle room has some depth there. And out of all of the guys, he kind of was just at the bottom of the roster because they do have some dudes there, starting with Dexter Lawrence, right? So I think that that's why they were willing to move on to him. But also, too, from what I gathered, he didn't look super promising at camp. Now, again, that could be the fact that he's at the bottom of the depth chart and he knows that maybe he's going to get traded or whatever the case may be. We're going to see pretty soon. But he is a little older. There has been a little bit of decline in his play, but he is a veteran. He is a guy that has some experience stopping the run, and also too he still has a little twitch to him. I was actually looking at some of his film. I watched 2 games. I'll definitely watch more games so you guys can get a better overall look at him. But I was looking at a couple of the games that he played in today. The loss of Carl Davis is, to me, probably one of the biggest reasons they bring him in. I know a lot of people would say that is because, Mozzie, and that we're unsure of what is going to happen with Mozzie. But I think this is mostly because Carl Davis got injured. And also, too, you heard Zimmer yesterday say, we need a DT. Stop playing with me. Y'all know how I run my defenses, and my defenses are run stoppers. And most of my DTs, I'm not looking for them to just get up field and rush the passer. I want them to take on double teams, eat snacks, and take up space. And this is what this guy does. 62 starts in his career, 24 career sacks, 36 tackle for loss, and then he has 51 QB hits. I also noticed that he had 5 passes defended last year, which lets me know that this is a guy that maybe he's not super as twitchy as he was before, not as explosive, whatever, but he's getting his hands up in those passing lanes and he's affecting the passer. So again, not a whole bunch to talk about in regard to him. I'll tell you a little bit of my scouting report on him from what I know. He still has some power and some snap in his hands. You'll see him when he makes initial contact. You'll still see guys, even last year, you'll see guys head snap back okay, oh shit, this guy's kind of strong, He has a little pop out of his stance, and what I mean by that is that he still comes off the line quickly. He does. Now, again, I will say, this is a gentleman that's a little older. He does need to be a part of a rotation. I don't think that he can play extended snaps and be effective in double teams and rushing the passer if that is what you want him to do. I do think that he still has the ability to drive blockers out of the way. He still has the ability to move people out of gaps or to hold double teams long enough for your linebackers to do what they need to do. And again, when he gets a little tired, that pad level can get a little high, so the rotation will be important. So because you don't want him getting driven out of plays and things like that. When he is fatigued, you see that motor take a tick down. Again, he's 31 and he's a million zillion pounds. So I don't know, surprise, he gets tired. So like I said, he will draw double teams because I do think that there are people who still have respect for who he is as a player, and just the size is undeniable. And also, too, the fact that he still can do some things, getting upfield and slipping through some tackles and, getting to the quarterback. So it's not a super duper flashy trade. I believe the Cowboys receive, if I'm not mistaken, the Cowboys receive a 7th round pick and Phillips, and the Giants get a 6th rounder. So not super flashy, but very necessary given the fact that this DT room it's thin, and I do not personally want to see 3 techs having to do 1 tech things. I don't. I want 1 tech to be 1 tech and 3 techs to be 3 techs, so you can get the best out of your 3 techs from a pass rushing standpoint, because when they're sitting up here having to take on double teams and stuff like that, and that's not their damn job, you're going to see a decline in their ability to rush the passer. And that's what this team has done well. That's what this team needs to continue to do well. And I'm hoping that they're able to generate pressure with just 4 players. So, again, just wanted to talk to y'all a little bit. Again, there wasn't really nothing crazy going on at practice today. I'm sorry, y'all. Hopefully tomorrow's more interesting. But the defenses decided that they were going to say, y'all ain't doing no passing today. And, yeah, so I am going to get out of here. I am going to probably come back on here and talk to y'all in a couple of days and just kind of see what's going on and what to expect in the preseason game. Maybe preview the preseason game again. But, yeah. I'm going to be on Girls Talk, Boys Talk tomorrow at 5 p.m. And I have some other things coming for you guys. Might be, you know, doing some extra stuff, you know, moving on up the ladder. So I appreciate y'all, and I hope you have a good night. Please like and subscribe. Please comment. I'm very open, and I'm willing to talk to y'all in the comments and stuff. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, it is Iisha Morrison. So Iisha Morrison, Morrison. And say hi. Thanks. Bye.